Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Yaji, like yay G. My channel is all about saving money while traveling by using points and miles because let's be real, traveling can get expensive. So if you don't have to spend money, why would you, right? So if that sounds interesting to you, then let's be internet besties and consider subscribing below and let's get into today's video. Today I wanted to talk about a trip that I recently took with my family to Europe. Now Europe is very dear to me because I met my husband in Europe, we got engaged in Europe, so we love going to Europe, and we tried to do like a family trip at least once a year. And this time we actually went to two countries. So we went to the Netherlands, specifically Amsterdam, and we went to Belgium, Brussels and Bruges. So the closest airport to where I live is actually DFW because we live in the Dallas area. At the time of booking, I wasn't able to find any direct flights from Dallas to Europe. We actually flew out of IAD in DC and we took Air France to get to the Netherlands. And because we traveled out of DC, we decided to do a little like family trip to DC as well. We've been before, but we just like to go to the like big cities and check out museums and such. And we stayed at the Intercontinental at the Wharf, and thankfully it worked out because there was like the Day of the Dead festival type of thing going on that week at the Wharf, and so we got to participate in that and just shop around. At the Intercontinental we paid 112,000 IHG points. So if I had to pay this room in cash, it would be around $860. So we saved that money by using points. And we just stayed in a regular classic room with 2 queen beds, and my toddler likes to sleep with me when we're traveling, and she hates to like sleep in a baby crib, so I always have to be in the same bed with her, so 2 beds work for us. There's 2 Intercontinentals in DC. The one we stayed at is the one at the Wharf, and check-in was like super easy. There was no one there, and at the front desk they're so kind because they had a little like trolley out for my toddler to go pick up like a plush animal, and she picked out a little elephant, which is super cute, and a nice customer service. Just something fun for the kids. The hotel is very modern with lots of natural light, lots of glass windows, and there's a lot of seating at the lobby, which I really like. It is slightly on the smaller side in terms of the lobby, like not actual rooms, but the lobby was a bit smaller than I anticipated, considering it's an Intercontinental. And there's only one restaurant on property, which I thought was weird at first, but then once I got there, I was like, okay, this makes sense because they're on the wharf, right? There's tons of restaurants, literally like walking distance to like a bunch of restaurants and bars. And so it kind of makes sense that there's only one restaurant on property because if people are eating out, they won't need multiple restaurants. We had breakfast there once and it was really good. And the hotel is pretty close to a lot of touristy places, so you can take like an Uber or even like the public transport if you wanted to get to places like the Washington Monument and such. It's super close. So we enjoy the location, and so we picked the Wharf. I don't know if it's worth 112,000 points, to be honest. We did have a lot of Intercontinental points. We had no qualms about spending that, but I would say don't transfer Chase points to Intercontinental to stay at this hotel because Chase points are more valuable transferring to airlines. So if you have a lot of like hotel points already, sure, go ahead and spend it, but I wouldn't say like go out of your way to transfer points from Chase. So at the IAD airport, we took Air France to Paris, and then we had a layover in Paris for a couple hours, and then we went to Amsterdam. And with Air France, we paid 385,000 miles, which is on the expensive side, to be honest. If we had to pay cash for our Air France flight, it would have cost us around $5,500 for the 3 of us. Just one way to go to Europe. And we saved that money by using points, even though it was a lot of points. So with this Air France flight, we booked directly with the airline instead of booking with a different alliance. I know you can book like Air France and KLM flights on the Delta website, but I just find it easier to book directly with Air France. The taxes on Air France are a little bit higher compared to other airlines in my opinion, but I'm still willing to pay the higher taxes if I can get my family to Europe using miles, because to me, that's free travel. Sure, you pay taxes, but you pay taxes on anything. So I kind of overlook that part. You can get to Amsterdam with different airlines, even with KLM, like direct. But at the time of booking, I couldn't find anything direct to Amsterdam. And so that's why we booked Air France, and also because we had a bunch of Air France miles. So it's just easier for us. I really like Air France because even though they have like a dynamic award chart, the prices for children are cheaper. So they don't charge you like a full adult price, which is greatly appreciated because a lot of airlines just charge like a straight up adult fee because they're taking up a seat, right? Like Air France and KLM doesn't do that, so I do like that. But I booked this flight pretty late, and so that's why we spent over 300,000, close to 400,000 actually, for this flight. Normally Air France do have like flash sales, so if you're lucky, you can go to Europe for 50,000 points per person, which is so much better than 385, right? But we did have a lot of Air France miles that was going to expire, so we did decide to use them up. I think we ended up spending 150,000 miles, I think. Like we transferred from a bank. So for us, it wasn't that big of an expense, but if you had to spend like all 385,000 points, then I don't know, it's a bit on the expensive side, and I wouldn't recommend it because the flight we took was actually an older plane. So it is the reverse herringbone style of planes, so the seats are like 1-to-1 layout in business class, but it's an older plane, so there wasn't like wireless charging or anything like that on the flight. And this is the thing about airlines, you can choose a route and find out which plane is going to leave from which airport, but airlines change the planes last minute, so you honestly don't know if you're gonna get a newer plane or an older plane like we did. It's honestly just luck. So for us this time, we were just unlucky like that. Now at Amsterdam, we stayed at the Andaz property from Hyatt, and we spent 100,000 points, and this is because we checked into a suite. At the Andaz, we stayed at the Prinsengracht, and if we paid cash, it'd be over $2,500 for our stay. But of course we didn't because we used points. I like Andaz properties because they're like super quirky. They're unique to whatever country or city that you're staying at. And it's very like modern and like young and hip, but not like crazy like the W, for instance. Like all European properties, the hotel is a bit on the smaller side. Coming from the US, it's gonna seem a little bit small, but the customer service was like amazing, excellent. They went above and beyond. So because we stayed at a suite, we had a king bed, and we had like a rollaway bed, and they had a bottle of wine and fruit available for us. They also gave our daughter like a little rubber ducky as like a souvenir for her to keep. Overall, the experience was just amazing. I will say about this property though, breakfast isn't your typical breakfast. So we ordered room service for all our breakfasts while we were staying there, and we ordered like pancakes and waffles, but the size and the style of pancakes and waffles are a little bit different, and it tastes a little bit different as well. Even the eggs that we ordered, like they had scrambled eggs, but it was a little bit different, and I think it's just the style they were going for at that hotel, because I've had food from different hotels in Amsterdam before and it didn't taste like that. So I think it's just unique to that hotel, which is totally fine, but just don't expect typical American eggs, waffles, and pancakes. We chose this hotel because there is a like river cruise like right in front of the hotel, and it worked out for us because we prefer like more private type of tours, and so having that river tour cut down on time that we had to walk around, and with a toddler it just worked out for us. It's also walking distance to Anne Frank Museum. We did have to take an Uber to go to the Rijks Museum. I can never pronounce that right, but we also enjoyed our time there. I mean, it's super famous. Everyone that goes to Amsterdam goes to the Rijks Museum at least once. So on to Brussels. At Brussels, we stayed at the Marriott Grand Place, and we paid 131,000 Marriott points. If we had to pay that in cash, it would have cost us around $950. So we also saved money there. So if you own Marriott cards that give you a free night certificate, you can use it at this location. And so we used 2 free night certificates to cover for our stay. And that's why it cost us 131,000. Otherwise, it would have cost 201,000 points. Once again, we picked this hotel because of location. I always try to see where I want to go in each city and stay at a hotel that's like closer to a lot of the tourist sites that I like to see. And Grand Place is is like literally the center of Brussels, and a lot of things are walking distance. So if you're gonna go see the mannequin piss, or even like the girl or the dog, they're all walking distance. The Atonium is a little bit further away, so you're probably gonna have to either Uber or take the metro. The metro system is super easy. You'll have no trouble there. So when we were in the Marriott, there was a conference going on. A lot of people were staying there, and so we weren't able to get upgraded for our Suite Night Awards, which was a bummer because I saved up Suite Night Awards for this hotel. With Marriott, if you hit 50 nights or 75 nights, they give you the option to choose your rewards, and we always pick the Suite Night Awards because it's more beneficial for us. Breakfast at this hotel, I feel, is more geared towards Americans. The hotel does get super busy, and so if you are not into crowds or a lot of people, maybe this hotel is not for you. But if you don't mind that and you prefer to be in a hotel nearby the city, then this is an excellent hotel. On the way back to the US, we took Turkish Airlines and we flew from Brussels to Istanbul, and then we went to Atlanta. So Turkish Airlines, we book through the Air Canada portal, so like Aeroplan, and we pay 270,000 miles, which ends up being like 90K per person, which I think is like normal for Air Canada and what their rate is for Turkish Airlines. If you booked directly with Turkish Airlines, this would have cost 130,000 miles per person, and the cash rate for this flight for the three of us was $9,600, which is very expensive in my opinion. And with this flight as well, we got an older plane. So we got the 232 layout, which normally I do mind, but in this case we didn't because like I mentioned, I was traveling with my family, and so there was three of us, and it worked out having our daughter sit in between us in the middle. And Turkish Airlines, they're known for great food compared to like other airlines. So they have a chef on board, rolls their cart for food, and so it's just a very different and unique experience compared to different airlines, which I really do like. And they have tons of options for food and dessert. Even though we had an older product, I didn't mind it so much. So we arrived late in Atlanta, so we stayed at an airport hotel. We stayed at the Marriott Gateway. We used another free night certificate, and I booked this hotel because the way they advertise it makes it sound as if the hotel is connected to like the Skyway, but that was not the case. First of all, on the website, they didn't mention that the Skyway is only for the domestic terminal, not the international terminal. So we ended up having to take an Uber from the airport to the hotel anyways. But the reason why I booked the hotel was because I thought, oh, it's connected to the airport. There were other hotels around that area. I think I saw Renaissance there, and Renaissance was a little bit cheaper than Marriott. So next time, if there is a next time, I will make sure to book a different hotel, not the Marriott, because like typical Marriotts in the US, they're a little bit run down. I do feel like they need a little refresh. So to and from Dallas, we took American Airlines. We normally take American Airlines because that's just convenient for us. It's a direct flight, and those we paid in cash. And that is a little summary of what airlines and hotels we stayed at in Amsterdam and Brussels. There are tons of options for both locations with the majority of hotel chains. So if you have a membership, there's tons of options to choose from, but this is just the method that we decided to take. I actually got a little bit sick after the trip, and we flew business class. Imagine if we flew economy, like how much worse I would have been. So that's the importance of flying business class, especially if you have a young one or just for comfort in general. If you can utilize your everyday spend, whether it's groceries or gas, and you use the right credit cards, traveling like this is achievable for anyone, and it's essentially free, so why not, right? And that's what I like to share about in my channel, how to travel for free using points and miles. And on that note, as always, if you found this video helpful and informative, don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll see you guys with another video.